Jim talked about wanting defensive starters to play a portion of Saturday. Any thoughts on your offense and Josh as far as Saturday goes?
Yeah, no, everybody that's obviously we got to practice today, right? We're going pads, so things can change, after today's practice. But right now, everybody that's healthy is going to be playing out there on Saturday.
Why? What the reasoning behind it? I mean, is it because of the newness? Do you anticipate to just do it this week and not week 2 of preseason, or like the starters? Just because of all the changes, perhaps that you're want these guys to get?
Yeah, I don't think any like 1 year is the same, and there's a lot of the factors that go into it, right? Sometimes there's there's injuries that play in, there's bodies, but I think we get an opportunity to go into the stadium, and I want the guys, hey, how do we respond from the red blue practice, us going through it and getting that pregame routine and going out there and look, I want to see guys get hits. I want to see guys tackle. I want to see the finishing of the play and the how and all. So there's so many variables with it. We obviously have a new everything, right? And so it's our first opportunity for us to come together and you show an example of what the Buffalo Bills, are about. And so I think that that's important.
Do you have a conversation with Josh about like what that looks like and like being extra careful with him specifically? Is there like extra conversations there, especially since he did not play the preseason last year?
Yeah, I mean, you guys have had conversations with Josh and know how he plays, right? There's only one way that he plays, right? And I think that's a message to the whole football team. I think if you treat a preseason game like this is NFL football, and guys are fighting for their lives, and there's a physicality, and if you kind of just dip your toe in, that's when I think bad happens. And with that, so if we're out there going, we're going, and I would hope that he is mindful of, but I want him to be competitive and be Josh Allen, and and I hope everybody else kind of embraces that same mindset. Wake up and let's go play some football.
Do you have a sense of how long you'd like the starters?
Yeah, we have an idea. Sometimes it's not necessarily just plays. Some of it impacts drives and flow of the game and, how things are going. Some of that we'll determine after practice from today. Like we have an idea of what that's going to look like. But, I want us to have a really good practice and see how the bodies and everything kind of turns out from there.
Hey, Joe, can you update us on some injury stuff? Connor, Ty Johnson, Max, forget anybody else want to help me here, but those three for sure. Can you kind of give us an update? What's going on with those guys?
Yeah, I mean, no different than kind of the CJ's situation from the jump. Right now, we're learning some of the guys just recover and their kind of process. There's a lot of those guys you talk about will be out today, and again, we haven't had timetables or expectations of how that kind of works. I think the training room is doing a great job with the guys we are pushing guys to kind of go, and but we also have to understand there is a physical toll of training camp, and injuries are going to happen, and I think it's the message to the guys, like we'll have 11 guys in the huddle and we'll be all right, and competition is going to be good with it, but to say, hey, this guy's going to be out this many weeks, I don't feel comfortable saying that.
Give us the body part stuff, like what Max dealing with, what's Connor dealing with.
At
least specify what those are.
Lower body.
Lower body, so you're a hockey coach.
Yeah, there you go. Should I say lower body extremity? Is that, but yeah, no, it's training camp, right? It's stuff that's going to happen, and there's guys that are banged up that are pushing through things. There's certain guys that, there's history that we got to be a little more intentional. There's certain guys that if this was a game week would be probably practicing today or getting, so there's no two people are the exact same situation, and we have a lot of conversations about it. But, I feel strongly about how we've done things and where we're at and continue to progress. I obviously don't want anybody to ever get injured. But it is what comes from training camp. I said it kind of early. It was sometimes people think it's like, hey, is it a great training camp if nobody's injured? Well, there's also a component. Are we working to a level of that we need to, as we're going? And so our ones reps will never change. Sometimes we just have to. Some guys from the twos or the threes get bumped up and kind of rolling because we have to continue to advance our football team.
Are all the names that we mentioned considered lower body injuries? Cole, Connor, Ty Johnson.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
You mentioned every healthy player. Is Michael Blake going to return to play on Saturday?
Again, I know I'm not getting a lot of specifics with it, and I know once I get into the regular season, you guys will have way more information on this than I. But Hoyt, we have a specific plan, with Mike, and since the jump, he's just wanted to continue to do more, and I know he's going to want to play in the preseason, right? And so we just have to be mindful. Let's see how, after every day, we kind of get a feel of what's his workload. We've been kind of doing this with him as he's going and seeing, hey, is there a snap count that we want? Hey, he's way ahead of schedule, like seeing what he's able to do. And so if it's not this week, I do want to get him, preseason football. Shoot, he's going to want to do preseason football. So, yeah.
Joe, you mentioned a pretty long list of things you were kind of trying to get a feel for the practice in your first time over there. What about this first preseason game? What you and your new role are you trying to start to get a better feel for in that building and then in the sidelines calling plays as the head coach, all of that? What are you looking to accomplish individually on Saturday?
Yeah, I tried to take in as much as I could last week so that when I showed up to the stadium this week, it wasn't anything outside of the ordinary. And I'm way more concerned. Look, obviously the how we play, right? And that's my focus on this preseason is, it's pet peeve of mine. You get into preseason, there's 12 guys in the huddle, there's 10 guys in the huddle, and the communication and how we run into the ball and the silent tape, and are we grabbing guys and helping them up? Like, those are things that I'm going to be conscientious of, and making sure that we're not just looking at the results of the plays and making sure that the how is exactly how we want. But from my perspective, it's no different than a lot of the sideline. It's just making sure that it's a great opportunity for us coaches just on the sideline and the headsets and the communication offensively, defensively. But I think I got a really good feel of it last week.
Joe, how would you assess the backup quarterback competition to this point, and how big will these preseason games be for that evaluation?
Yeah, I think, look, games are always important, right? Like, I want to see, you don't want gamers, but you want to see guys that rise to occasions. And I think backup quarterback is such a hard position to play in general, right? You get no reps, and then you got to go and play. Shoot, right now they're not even getting as many reps with just some of the injuries, right? But there's also a component of, like, what sometimes people might see as a bad throw. There's so many different nuances of, it could be a wide receiver, it could be a bad throw, but you're playing with so many different guys, and understanding, like, we're talking about getting Josh on the same chemistry as DJ. Well, imagine being a backup quarterback and you're playing with 12 guys, and everyone feels a little different, throws a little different. But so there's going to be ups and downs and flows with it. But two guys that I think are extremely competitive that, if need be, they don't blink, and I feel comfortable being able to call a game with them. Obviously, we know we have Josh Allen, right? And so there's something that comes with that. But I'm excited to let them go kind of spin the football and go play a little bit this weekend.
Joe, knowing that everyone's competing for something out there, but would you consider the interior defensive line, that three-man group, whatever it's going to be, maybe the most complex decisions you'll have to make in these preseason games? Because it just seems that there's so many guys playing different positions out there.
Yeah, and you're trying to be look, we don't know what they're calling. We don't know the personnel that they're going to bring in, so it could impact some of that, and that's why we're trying to be a little intentional in practices, how we're handling, to try to see a lot of different guys on a lot of different roles. But I don't think it's like, hey, D-line is the most important that we're going to be evaluating. Like, it's an opportunity for everybody, but there's going to be a lot that comes with it. We go to practice and you see guys come off blocks and then they celebrate. Well, I want to see these guys be able to actually finish. Can they finish tackling? Like, what does all those things look like? And from a D-line perspective, how do they play with technique and then actually finish on the ball and those type of things? So all of them are going to play and kind of roll, and I'm excited to be able to see, a lot of the guys still play in a lot of different techniques. But that's part of the challenge of the scheme, and seeing these guys kind of rise to it.
He was saying that he's not sure yet if he's going to do one game up, one game down.
Yeah.
What do you look for in that communication? It's kind of will be a good fit for you guys.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have him up this week. And look, he's always been on the sideline, so that's like his comfort level. And I know how slow the game is upstairs, how much he sees, how easy it is to see things and get in the flow. So I'll put him up this week. And then just see what that dialogue looks like, and just what he needs, of me, and then the communication between drives when we're on defense. What does that look like? No, Pete knows. I mean, we spend more time with each other now than anybody, right? And so, whether he's up or down, he's going to be huge value to me.
You mentioned something like getting Josh on the same chemistry as DJ Moore. Could you tell us a little bit about just how you witnessed that evolve over the first couple of weeks of camp, and where you see it at?
Yeah, it's so, like, obviously I wasn't a good wide receiver, but I think so often people think that you just bring a wide receiver, you put them on the team, and man, they're just going to click. And there's just I've said it so many times, but like there's just so much, like you can speak so loudly as a wide receiver to a quarterback, and how guys run routes. You just sometimes, like, a quarterback can look at a wide receiver and know what he means, or like, hey, I can see when he drops his hips or he puts that foot and that nod that way, that's how this route is going to go. That takes time. And it takes time in practice, and it takes time going through it in the games. And sometimes you might throw a deep in cut and it's an overthrow, and it's like, oh, okay, got it. I didn't know you'd be able to round out of it like that. Are you going to 1-2 it at the top? So some of that is that dialogue. DJ's just out there and he just works, and it's so cool to see. But they spend so much time together, both watching the tape and kind of going through it, that to see what they're able to do, and kind of, there's sometimes we're missing some throws and them hitting it the next day. It's pretty cool to kind of witness.
With DJ, does he bring in a different element or dimension to the offense that, I'm not saying it lacked over the last 2 years, or perhaps it did, but in the evolution of the offense, is this a different dimension that he brings?
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason we wanted him, right? And he to help our offense, help our wide receiver room, help our football team, and to get a guy that can run any type of route, you can move him around. He can he has incredible ball skills down the field. He can run shallow crosses and catch a 4-yard route and take it to the house. And he's a leader. And so his skill set and everything that he brought to our team is, look, it's training camp, right? We haven't played a damn game yet, but you can feel him out on the football field.
Is that to acknowledge that there were deficiencies the past 2 years in the offense?
No, I think it's just a mindset of, great communication with Bean and myself, of like, hey, a guy's available that we feel like can help us and benefit to us, and what it can do for other guys. And I was fortunate that we were able to bring him here.
Joe, you've coached a lot of games that you can replicate a lot of stuff in practice, but this is head coach. This is the first game in this stadium. Have you given yourself a moment to think about that at all? I know you're busy, but have you given any thought of that, of taking the sidelines in the first game here?
No, look, and who knows? Maybe I get to that point, but no, I've never been. I told people I've coached a lot of games here in Buffalo, just being a part of it. And the first Buffalo environment I ever witnessed was really the Buffalo Sabres playoff game. Because like you get up there, you get so locked in, you don't notice the environment, and it can be so, but I try not to get caught up in any of that. And that's why we're trying to get in the stadium and get a part of a lot of these, so that our guys don't get caught up in it as well, right? It's going to be, it's going to be a hard place to play for opponents, right? But it has to be an advantage to us, but our focus needs to be where it needs to be. And so I've never let myself kind of get to that point. I have a job to do, and my focus has to be where it needs to be, so everybody else is as well.
When CJ came back to practice, I think everybody was like, wow, that was super quick. Do you worry at all that he maybe came back too quick with the injury again?
No, we're learning the guys' recoveries, right? And we're learning their bodies, guys that haven't been here, right? And you're learning it all. And some of it is the toughness of guys, just, the willingness of like, hey, like I love seeing guys that are like, look, I'm hurting right now. I'm going to go back out on the football field. And, no two injuries are the same, and so, no, not a concern. If there was a concern of guys going out there and it's like, hey, this guy, we don't put guys out there on the football field that we don't feel like they can go out there and do their job. We're not just putting guys out there to go get re-injured.
Joe, how do you feel the punting competition is going?
It's good, and I'm excited to be able to watch these guys go on Saturday. There's live action with it. I think anytime we can have competition, that's what you want. And so you got a vet and a rook, and they're going to have, look, as an offensive play caller, I hope they don't have too many opportunities. But there might be some opportunities we get in the game that we kind of might have to try to force the issue a little bit to be able to see those guys. But obviously Mitch was out a couple days with his injury, but he's back punting, and I'm excited to see these guys kind of under not necessarily the lights, but see kind of how they respond with it.
Joe, considering that you mentioned you're looking at players in game action, obviously we kind of limited reps for the two of them. I'd say split that. How much do you look at game reps for this battle, and then the whole camp as a whole, kind of how you look at it?
Yeah, I think that's for every player too. Like it's everything takes in consideration. Like sometimes a guy will go out in a preseason game and he, it might be a receiver and he goes for 100 yards, but he's been struggling just to line up and do everything. and so you try not to overreact on how guys play in preseason, but there is an element of like, how do guys play with, with all eyes on them? And, we want guys that want to rise to the occasion and be able to handle it. So the competition, but there's a reason we're playing these preseason games, to be able to see those things and who can handle that. And so yeah, we're taking everything consider. Every punt matters, every rep matters in practice, and that's all part of the evaluation. But when you get into the game, you also got to be able to show up in those moments.
Joe, how much different might Joshua Palmer look to you now? I know he dealt with a lot of injuries. What he's looking like to you right now, the kind of player he is.
Yeah, I mean, you're seeing him move around like the player, when he's healthy. You feel his speed. I mean, I think, he might have topped out at like a max speed of like the fastest in training camp so far. I mean, he's healthy, he's moving, he's playing confidently, and you can see him be able to make plays when they're coming to him. So I know it was a frustrating year for him, dealing with a lot of stuff, pushing through a lot of stuff, and, no issues with him with how he handled it all. It was tough, but he's back rolling, and he's going to be a valuable asset to our offense.
Joe, how will Saturday's preseason game serve as a measuring stick opportunity to see where your defense is at collectively in this new 3-4 look?
Yeah, I don't think it's look, we're competitive in everything we do, right? I don't want the guys to think like this game matters. Like it matters to me, it matters to our guys. A lot of the guys, this is their life, and but there's also a component of, I just want to be able to see, we're not game planning in a sense of like, I just want to be able to see guys play technique and be able to go out there and execute and do their job. So regardless of whether it's a shutout or whether it's not, I think it's more about how the guys are playing and how they're running to the football and all those things, as opposed to hey, we're scheming, we're game planning, like, why did this happen? Seeing how guys respond to a negative play, seeing how guys respond after they made a play. Like, I'm looking for all of that stuff. But it's an opportunity for us to go out there as a defense and show, hey, we are a different defense. We're gonna run to the football and tackle and stop the run, and we're gonna play with energy. And so that's all important to see.
Keontae Jenkins has gotten a lot of run with the second team defense this offseason. What have you seen from him, and what are you hoping to continue to see from him?
Yeah, a young guy that took advantage of his practice squad, time, and like how valuable that is to. I know it was a different scheme, but when you get practice squad and going against, our offense and taking on some of the blocks from our offensive line and the different type of schemes, you felt him on the football field last year, and he's a guy that the more reps he gets, the better that he looks, and he finds his way always around the football, and so there's a reason that his reps continue to go up.
Joe, what are you looking for a player like Caleb Alamzar, first opportunity, in a game like this, showed up in practice and training camp strong? What are the things to be isolated to see a guy in his first opportunity like this?
I want to see translate from practice to a game. I try not to believe in the gamer mentality, right? Like, I don't want us to pick and choose when we compete, and I want to be able to see it on a Wednesday. I want to see it on a Friday, and then let it translate into a Sunday. And I don't want guys that, hey, like, there's nothing I hate more than when guys are like, oh, it's the playoffs, it's time to turn it on. Like, no, that's how we should have been in training camp. And so a guy like him, I want to be able to see him. Look, rookies, their first exposure in the NFL. There's going to be mistakes. There's things are going to happen, but how he responds to it. But I want to see him, just continue to carry on what he's doing in the training camp. Don't feel like he needs to do anything else. Thank you, guys.